The Idol That Jumped by Clifford W. Collinson. "But look here, my dear old bean," said I, or words to that effect. "You are a Christian. You no want him any more, this fella devil. He bad fella too much." For I wanted that idol very badly indeed. There was something about it that fascinated me, and I was having great difficulty in persuading the old Shortland Island chief, Yonigora, to part with it. The Marist mission claimed him as a convert, but the wily old chief, when it came to actually parting with his beloved idol, evidently thought it prudent still to keep in touch with his former gods, in case the promises of his new faith should prove delusive. The idol was quite small as Solomon Island devils go, only about 30 inches high, an ebony figure in a crouching position, with mother-of-pearl eyes looking forth malignantly from under lowered brows. It was a menacing figure, fascinating by reason of Chief's very repulsiveness. Failing to get the idol myself from the old chief, I resorted to guile and paid a call on the local missionary. Him I chaffed about his famous convert, and so worked upon him that he took the thing up as a personal matter and vowed to deliver the idol to me within a week. I must admit that he kept his word. Moreover, he did the thing well. For on the 6th day, a flotilla of canoes, bearing most of the villagers, approached the government residence where I was staying, with the old chief's son leading the array and bearing on his knees the cherished idol. He himself was, apparently, not greatly concerned, but I gathered that his father was filled with woe and foreboding at the loss of this symbol of his ancient faith. And, curiously enough, his premonition of evil to come was startlingly correct, as will be seen later. The presentation was made in style. I made suitable return gifts to the young man and the kneeling villagers, harangued them in pidgin English, and sent the old chief special gift of trade tobacco to help assuage his grief. After sitting around for an hour or two, the natives re-embarked and, the wind being favorable, most of them improvised sails from palm leaves and paddles and skimmed away down the coast to their distant village. I congratulated myself on having secured the idol, thanked the missionary, and considered the incident as closed. Not so, however. For the better understanding of what follows, it will be necessary to explain in some detail the construction of the government office at Fazy, where I was staying. It is a wooden structure of one room, entered by a central door which leads from a veranda running along the front of the building. Facing you as you enter stands a long table set about with chairs, and half right is a counter. Behind the table, fully 12 feet from the door, is a high shelf on the opposite wall. It is at this table that the government officer performs his multifarious duties. Here he grants licenses for many purposes, transacts customs business, holds trials of thieves and murderers, sells postage stamps and sorts the mails, in addition to administering a district covering an area of over 1,000 square miles. The commissioner has a small staff of native police, and, at the time I speak of, these were under the command of a native corporal named Kavisi Batu, whose smartness was a constant pleasure to behold. What he lacked in inches, he more than atoned for in upright and soldierly carriage, and his jet-black skin, his smoothly clipped mass of hair, bleached to a light brown by the application of coral lime, and his snow-white teeth, in conjunction with a uniform consisting of an extremely tight and abbreviated khaki lava, with leather belt buckled over a narrow red sash, combined to produce an effect at once smart and attractive. He was an interested spectator of the handing over of the famous idol, and, being ordered to do so, he, rather nervously, I thought, carried it carefully into the office and placed it somewhat gingerly on the shelf, which, it will be remembered, stood opposite the door at a distance of about 12 feet. My heavy luggage was in a shed close by, and the idol was therefore left on the shelf when the commissioner and I closed the office at 5 p.m. and climbed slowly up the scrupulously swept path between the young betel-nut palms to the residency, perched on the very top of the hill behind. The evening was spent as usual, chatting in the cool of the veranda, whilst outside the fireflies glowed in the warm, scented dusk, and the little twinkle of lights on an anchored trading schooner came to us from the moonlit waters of the harbour down below. As we crept into bed under our mosquito curtains, we remarked on the uncanny stillness of the night, for the faint breeze had died completely away, and even the palm leaves hung motionless and shining under the great tropic moon. There was a queer sense of something impending. And at precisely 6 minutes to 5 next morning, the thing happened. Curiously enough, I had wakened just 4 minutes previously, and, being still drowsy, was lazily groping in the semi-darkness for a box of cigarettes, but lay on a rubber-wheeled tea table by my bedside, when without any warning, the foot of my bed suddenly rose up, and the table, moving from under my hand, collided with the wall behind me. Simultaneously, there came the crash of glass from the dining room and the clatter of plates and dishes from the kitchen. I sat up in bed, gripping both sides with my hands, and through the open door saw the flagstaff outside, in the dim light of very early dawn, whipping to and fro like a cane, whilst in the room the pictures swung from side to side, and my bed rose and fell like a bucking bronco. Just then, an apparition appeared at the door. The commissioner, in his pajamas, holding onto the doorpost to keep his feet. "Good morning, Dickie," I said.
"Good morning be hanged,"
he roared.
"This is what comes of pinching idols from the heathen. The worst earthquake we've had for years. Heavens above, listen to that crockery."
And he plunged off in the direction of the kitchen. I suppose the whole business lasted no longer than a minute, but it seemed an age. That's the worst of earthquakes. You can stand what's happening at the time, but you are wondering all the time what's coming next. The tremors died away at last, and we proceeded to take stock of the damage. There was a good deal of broken glass and crockery, of course, but what annoyed us most was the fact that 3 bottles of whiskey had fallen from their shelf and lost their precious contents. We'd only bought them the previous day, too. Here I might mention that later in the day, I managed to wangle 2 free bottles from the store, having carefully pointed out to the manager that they might with advantage to me be entered, along with other broken bottles, under earthquake account. As a matter of fact, we got off lightly, for inspection of the house itself outside showed that the whole building had shifted on its short pile supports and was precariously poised on their extreme edges. Another inch, and the whole house would have crashed down to the ground, a distance of about 4 feet. We were still wandering about in our pajamas with scared parakeets and white cockatoos fluttering over our heads when the padding of bare feet on the garden path announced the breathless arrival of the black corporal, who halted and stood to attention with heaving chest and goggling eyeballs.
"What is it, Kavisi Batu?"
snapped the commissioner.
Devil, sir,"
gasped out the boy.
"Ha!"
said the commissioner, turning to me.
"What infernal idiocy! Didn't I say so?"
Then again, to the corporal.
"You think this big fella, devil, he make him earth shake, eh?"
"Yes, sir,"
replied Kavisi Batu, nodding his head vigorously.
"What the hell are you talking about?"
queried Dickie, meaning why this time. The boy explained eagerly.
"Dime earth he shake, me go look see long office. Office he all jiggered up, wharf he all jiggered up. Me open him door little bit along office. Me look him this fella devil. Devil he sit along doorway.
Doorway? I echoed in surprise.
Along night time he stop along shelf right
over on the other side of the room, and I pointed with my hand.
Devil he stop along doorway, sir,"
repeated the corporal firmly, and added hesitatingly,
Me think.
"Well, what do you think?"
roared Dickie, in a fever of impatience to get away down the hill and see how much damage had actually been done to his precious wharf and office.
"Yes, sir.
Blurted out Kavisi Batu.
Along night time, devil he want to go back along village belong him. He no stop along shelf. He walk about along office. Devil he look him door belong office. Door he shut. Devil he shake him door. Door he no open. Devil he plenty cross. He shake him this feller door strong feller too much. All earth he shake.
Unscientific, but ingenious,
commented Dickie, as we struggled into our shirts and pants and hurried down to the office. Sunrise was now imminent, and the light was getting stronger, but I must confess to a queer thrill as I peered through the half-open door of that office and saw my idol crouched facing me within a foot of the opening, his pearl shell eyes gleaming malignantly in the half-light. How he had got there puzzled me. How that top-heavy image had jumped down from a 6-foot-high shelf, hopped 12 feet across the room, dodging a perfect maze of table and chair legs, and stopped opposite the doorway, right side up and facing the entrance, even now seems strange to me. It seemed doubly mysterious on that eventful morning in the eerie half-light of the dawn, and, to be perfectly candid, I didn't half like it. He looked so actively malignant, too.
Collinson!
A shout from Dickie, round at the back, made me pull myself together, and I hurried round to view the damage. The whole building was twisted sideways, and at diagonal corners its feet were actually hanging clear of their supporting piles, the entire office being literally balanced on the 2 other corners. The wharf had also collapsed sideways and presented an absurdly drunken appearance in the level rays of the rising sun. The sunshine revealed something more, too, a number of dots on the sea far away down the coast, which rapidly grew larger and, with a great flashing of sunlight on paddles, presently turned out to be the steer's fleet of canoes returning, with the chief's son once again in the forefront. Our tempers that morning were none of the best. Early morning tempers in the tropics seldom are, but now we had admittedly some excuse.
"This is absolutely the limit,"
said Dickie.
"They've come to fetch their confounded idol back. Permit me to deal with these gentlemen,"
he added with ominous politeness. Thereupon he took up a commanding position on the tottering wharf, cleared his throat, and proceeded to address the floating mob. I will pass over that painful scene, only remarking that Dickie has the gift of tongues, and that not one of the astonished natives even so much as set foot on shore. Dickie is very much government when he gets worked up. At the same time, he is universally beloved and respected by the natives, who trust his sterling sense of justice. The flotilla faded away dejectedly, and we returned to the building. Not one of the boys would enter the office or go anywhere near the idol, so, after the badly jammed door had been forced open, I entered alone, picked him up, and replaced him on the shelf, where he squatted, scowling, whilst we tried to restore order to the chaos of books and papers that littered the floor. Later in the morning, in response to the urgent request of my host, who alleged that the idol's presence was demoralizing the entire native population, I packed him carefully away in one of my heavy boxes and nailed him down good and hard, to the evident relief of the assembled black crowd, who firmly believe to this day that the terrible Shake-a-Shake was undoubtedly the direct result of the removal from his native dwelling place of the idol that jumped.